question that I want us all to consider. And that is, what power can small events have to transform the course of our lives? This is a video game demo disc that I got in the summer of 2003 when I bought a magazine. Basically what it does is it has a few games where you can play 5 or 10 minutes of them, see if you like them, and it's a way that they try to get you to buy the game. The interesting thing here is it was summer 2003. I was an avid gamer. Summer is a notorious time when not many games are coming out and releasing. I had played everything I wanted to, so I was kind of bored. This disc came along, and I played a game. I was like, hey, that one's okay. So I ended up buying it. It's called Dynasty Warriors 4. I bought the game. I got really into it. To give you an idea of this game, you're a big hero character. You're on a vast battlefield, and you're up against a lot of nameless, faceless opponent soldier characters. So you're the type who goes through single-handedly changing the tides of an entire war by yourself. So you kind of run around doing all that stuff. And what's interesting about this is it's not just the game itself, but what it ultimately inspired in me. At some point, as I was playing through this game in the summer, I said, I think this stuff is based on real history. Indeed it was. I found out that it came from the Three Kingdoms period of China. This is an ancient time, almost 2,000 years ago, around the year 200. A dynasty collapsed. They used to have emperors back then in China. Dynasty collapsed. There were a bunch of warlords all over the country vying to install their own family line as the next emperorship. And they basically went to war for about 100 years. And because I played this game, I picked up a book called The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. This is what inspired the game and the theme and the characters. It's about 2,000 pages long. And I read that book, and it was even better than playing the video games. And so I was really inspired, and I didn't stop there. Many other things came out of this experience. I said, wait a minute, 2,000 years ago was a long time ago, but maybe there's even more. So I went as far back, and I kept digging and digging into ancient Chinese history and philosophy, even back to some of the oldest books that we even know of in humanity. Approximately, we've only been writing stuff down approximately 5,000 years, so that's about as far back we can go in terms of anything written. But still didn't stop. After that, I started learning Mandarin Chinese language, and at a certain point, I was pretty good at it, although I haven't practiced enough lately. This led me to also speak Chinese with my wife. Like when we first met, we would say like hello and goodbye, or have little conversations and things like that. I've traveled through Asia. I'm just returning here to Florida after living there for 3 years. And for another example, if some of those aren't directly related enough, here's a book I wrote where you learn about statistical programming by playing as a character in the Three Kingdoms period of China. So that's the role that you take on as you learn about statistics, as if you could, if you had the means back then, you might be able to make better decisions in battle. You know? So that's what I wanted to share with you, how what seemed like something very inconsequential or insignificant, that I would play a game for 5 minutes, but then really it would go on to direct the whole course of my life in a different direction. So that's where I think it's a lesson to us, an even broader lesson, not just about the game or about Chinese history and philosophy, but that we should not take even little things for granted. Something like doing some chores or running errands today that you don't really want to do, or having a boring meeting at work, or anytime you meet a new person. never to take it for granted, because sometimes something really small can ultimately lead to something big in the future, and you never really know what is going to happen. Okay, I'll return the floor to Madam Postmaster.